Happy 2024, y'all. How's it going for y'all? How's the new year going? How are things manifesting? You feeling good about it? You feeling nervous about it? Um, you come into it with a lot of good things happening to you. You come into it with a lot of bad things happening. Like, really, what's going on? What's happening with you all? Me, oh, y'all, I came back from a cruise and I am still struggling on the 7th day. I'm so tired already on this 7th day of January. I'm just being real with y'all. I can be real with y'all, right? Yeah, I am so tired. But I really did. I had a good time on our vacation. It was definitely something that we as a family needed. That's one thing that I want to talk to you all about today. It's shifting. It's time to shift. It's time to make adjustments. The beginning of the year, it's always a good time to do that because it's like a fresh start. And if you want to implement things, they tell you to do that. A lot of people suggested you do that in the beginning of the year so that at the end of the year, you can look back and you can see your progress. So being a mom, being a wife, being a sub, coaching children on their mental health and all these things that I do, I don't think I took time to realize how hard I work and how much I do and how sometimes you can truly just get caught up, in the motions, in the moments, and you don't take time to really evaluate where you were and where you are, and then what kind of adjustments you need to make, if any, to be better. And so I think us going on this vacation, really just the frustration of coming back and having to just get back into the swing of things, is really taught James and I to lean into that frustration. To really evaluate, why am I feeling like this? Why is it so hard for me to really, really get back into the swing of things? Why is it so hard for me to even sit down and read my Bible? Like, what is happening? And what I've realized is if you don't give yourself time to rest, if you don't give yourself time to just take a break, then all the hard work will almost seem like it's in vain. And then when you finally do take a break, you will almost not even know how. You'll be out of control and you won't know how to come back because you don't know when you're going to have another one. So just being honest with you guys, that's one thing that James and I have definitely decided to tune in this year on. It was Caden just playing so many sports and, James working full time and me holding down the house. It gets really challenging sometimes to just take a minute to think, to take a minute to breathe, to take a minute to make sure that you are okay. And so there's a lot of things that we'll be posting. Hopefully you all will tune in. I'm going to try. I know I say this all the time. I'm going to try to do a lot better about posting things because I think it's important to see growth and development. And I think, just being honest with y'all, it's hard because I'll say that I'm on track with this and I'll get all excited. And then the next thing I know, I'm behind. So I'm going to try to use this as a platform to keep me accountable for the transitions and the transformations that I'm trying to pursue and get into. One thing that James and I are dedicated to, and I put it on my Facebook page yesterday, is couples goals and that marriage goals. And for us, it's different. It's different. That's one thing you learn today too. Don't compare us and anybody else to what you have going on in your household, in your life. Learn how to compare yourself to your potential. Are you living up to your fullest potential? What standards do you have for yourself? Do they align with what God sees you as? What have you been called to do? Are you walking out that path? Because we learned today that whatever is in your heart, something that you want, is something that God needs. If James and I want a beautiful marriage, a successful marriage, a prosperous marriage, a loving marriage, then it's probably God needs that in the earth. He needs us to model that in the earth. And so in us pursuing the fullest life that we have in each other, in ourselves, we can act that out and model that, because it's what God needs. He needs people that are committed to healthy marriage and to showing what that looks like. Because there's so many people that are struggling in that area. I know it personally. I've heard about it. I've personally experienced it. And it's been a hard road for me and James. We've been married for almost 15 years now. And it's been a hard road, if I'm honest, in us discovering what our potential is in our marriage, what that looks like. And so now that we have started and began to discover that, I want to share that journey with you all. It started with us really deciding to dedicate our lives before to it. Yeah, like we can dedicate ourselves to each other, but we really had to get serious about dedicating our lives to the Lord, because everything flows from Him. We truly understand that now. And after that, getting ourselves truly committed to a church home, a church family that is not just going to church, but that has a mission that lines up with what we think our calling is in life. And so that was the second step for us. And in finding Change Church, we have begun to see a lot of change in our lives, in our marriage, in our family. And one thing I will tell you, if you're struggling in your marriage and you're frustrated in your marriage, do not use that as a sign to give up. This is not the season to go and file a divorce. Let me just tell you that. It's not the season. If that's your answer, if you feel like that's where you need to go, just listen. Just listen to what I'm saying. Because, again, you got married for a reason. You wanted to be married. And if you wanted it, God needs you to show not just the good, but He needs you to know that you can overcome the bad as well. And so in this season, I really do think that God is calling marriages to a higher standard. So you may be getting frustrated with where you are. You know, you might have went 10 years with your husband not talking to you and not being emotionally available for you. And you might have went 10 years without your wife, I was going to be honest, not giving it up on a regular. You know, all these things, not going out with you to your extracurricular activities, and all these things, not being your recreational partner. All these things, it's important to have a successful marriage. And so I just want to encourage you all to read this book. It's called His Needs, Her Needs. I went to school. I have my master's in marriage and family therapy, counseling. And, you know, I read a lot of books, a lot of Dr. Dobson's books, did a lot of tests, wrote a lot of papers. But nothing was as clear to me as this book, His Needs, Her Needs. Nothing has changed and is changing my marriage like His Needs, Her Needs. It's a book that if you commit yourself to reading it, both of you, husband and wife, if you commit yourself to reading it, it will change and transform your life. I promise you. It's not just a one-sided book. It covers everything from sex to raising children to how you should spend your time with each other. It covers everything, y'all. And I just ask, before you throw in the towel, before you give up, first of all, pray. First of all, make sure that you have a real relationship with God. What does that look like, Shiante? To me, that looks like, are you praying every day? Think about, I like to do a lot of analogies. And so think about when you first started dating your spouse. Like, the more time you spent with them, the better your relationship with them became. The closer you got to them, the more you knew about them. So a lot of people will say that God doesn't speak. But are you putting yourself in a position to hear him? Do you have a true relationship with God? Are you dedicating time with him? Are you putting time away just for him? That's an adjustment that can be made in this year. If you're not spending, I would say, at least 30 minutes. I read a book. Mike Todd just wrote a book, his new book. Y'all forgive me. I read a lot of books, so I can't even remember the name of it right now. But just his newest book, he talks about the thirsty 30. And what he did was he broke that time down into 10 segments. 10 minutes of prayer, 10 minutes of worship, 10 minutes of scripture reading. I've made adjustments to where I do 10 minutes of prayer and reading and 10 minutes of worship. And then that last 10 minutes, it's just silence. I'm not on my phone. Like literally just no phone, no music, just literally closing my eyes and like in a deep kind of meditation type thing. However you choose to do it, it's going to be different from what you did before. And so you're going to notice some type of difference. But building that relationship with God is like key to any type of change or difference, because the change lies in Jesus. He is the way, the truth, and the light. We don't even get to God except through him. So if we want to experience life to the fullest, we have to learn how to tap into having a relationship with our Savior and be excited about sitting at his feet and getting to know more about him. Once we do that, or if you are doing that and you still like, I don't get it, shit. Okay. Do you have a church home? This is a hard topic for me because James and I went through a season in life to where nobody could say anything to us about church. You could barely say anything to us about God because we had experienced so much church hurt from when I was a child all the way up until I was probably about 30. And church hurt is the hardest hurt because you don't even realize that you're going through it, because that's supposed to be the place where you get healed, not hurt. And so sometimes you don't even realize that you're being hurt because you talk to, oh, just pray about it. The Lord's going to handle it. All these things, and you don't realize the emotional abuse that you are suffering. And so when I finally got to a breaking point with the church, I thought the only answer was just not to go to church anymore. And that is the enemy's way of keeping you out of change and growth and transformation by making you think that you should not assemble yourself with like-minded people in the body. And I'm telling you, y'all, like, don't be discouraged if you go to one church and it's not right, or you go to 2 churches and it's not right, you go to 3 churches and it's not right. Like, I promise you, you will find your spot that makes you feel so safe and so comfortable and so complete that you will know, I need to be here. I need to be fed here. I'm going to commit myself to being a part of this organization. I'm going to attach myself because I see the growth here. And if you still are struggling and you still not seeing a change, once you get a relationship with God, once you dedicate yourself to a church, find you a good book to read that you can learn from and that you can implement and that you can grow. I'm recommending, if you somewhere in that sauce of being frustrated in your marriage, I don't care if you've been married for 2 weeks or 30 years. Because I know some people that's been married for 60 and that's another topic. But anyways, if you are ready to shift your life, to transform your life, y'all, I talk about a lot of transformation. I tried to narrow it down to kids, to marriage. Like, listen, it's just going to be about transforming in some type of way. Today is about marriage. Tomorrow it might be about parenting. The next day it might be about, food. Change happens in different forms. And that's what I'm realizing. So just know that wherever I come on here, it's going to be about changing in some type of way. It might benefit you today. It might benefit you tomorrow. I've been told, like, to narrow and find me an audience. My audience is anybody that's interested in change. And so today, it might be for you. Tomorrow, it might not be for you, and that's fine. But just rock with me, y'all, because I promise you, if you rock with me, you are going to change in some type of way. The only way I know to tell you this is because it's what I've had to do. And I'm still doing things. You never arrive. There's always something else you can learn. This season of my life is dedicated to marriage and family. Which is why a lot of things that I was doing before, I'm having to shift, and I'm having to rethink how I spend my time. There are going to be people that's going to be right here with me, that we're going to be growing and shifting and changing together. There are going to be people that I'm mentoring because they may look and say, hey, you got this change, and I see you got it, and I need you to help me through it. And I'm going to help you. Some stuff is going to be free, and some stuff is not going to be free. Because it's my gift, and it's time for me to start walking in it. And so, get a relationship with God. Find you a church home. And get you a good book. And maybe even an accountability partner that can help you, a book club. I have a book club. If you want to join the book club, join the book club. We do books all the time. A lot of self-help books. Because I'm all about change. So, of course, the books that I read are going to be about how can we implement some type of change. This year is going to be different. And I hope you know that. If you rock with me, it's going to be different. If you find somebody else to rock with, it's going to be different. All because you're making a choice to do something different. I look forward to the change, the growth, the development, the testimonies, all of that. Get your journals ready. Get your pens out. Because we get ready to go on a ride that you'll never forget. Love y'all. Have a great day.